So today, due to the popularity of the Etruscan alphabet video, I'm going to start making a bunch of short videos on the Etruscan language. Today we're going to focus in on nouns, and specifically the difference between the singular Etruscan nouns and the plural ones. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk just a little bit about the Etruscan language overall. It isn't a mysterious language. We can read it. The one problem is that we just have a lot of the same sentences over and over again. There's a lot of funeral inscriptions, a lot of dedications, so it gives us a lot of the same language. So there's no poems that come from Etruscan, no histories. They must have existed at some point, but they're lost to the sands of time, as it were. And so we aren't able to read much of the, we don't have a wide vocabulary or lexicon, but what we do have, we are able to read. Now, Etruscan is very different from English and from Latin. English, the grammatical structure of the sentence is based on the word order in the sentence. So the subject goes first, the boy. The verb is after the subject, gives, and then the direct object would be after the verb, a gift. And so that's how English functions. Latin uses, and ancient Greek are both inflected languages. That means they use their endings to kind of signify what's going on in the sentence. So say, for instance, the word pater is the nominative word, and that means it's our subject. But then if we wanted him to be the direct object, we would have to change it and add this em on it. That means he's the direct object, and he is a singular direct object. It's a single father. And we have a different ending, patres, for a plural direct object, the fathers, all right? Etruscan, and so this is what's called an inflected language, all right, where a single ending has a couple of different meanings wrapped up into it. Etruscan is known as an agglutinating language, and that means there's a stem and an individual segment that signifies a different thing. So if you want to say something's the direct object, you have one suffix. If you want to say something is plural, you have another one. So for example, the Etruscan word for God is Ise. All right? If you wanted to see in Etruscan, that would be Ise. Right? If we wanted to make that plural, we add an R onto it, Iser. If we then want to make that genitive and say it is of the gods, we add an S, and we need a vowel in between there as well, so we put an A in there. So Iseras. So here is our stem, Ise. Ra signifies the plurality of it, that it's gods, and then this S signifies the genitive. Right? So each of these little segments helps make up the nouns in all parts of the language. The nouns, the verbs, the participles. So today we're going to focus on just one segment of it, and that's the plural ones. Okay? So Etruscan nouns, from what we understand, are divided, have two different ways to make their plurals. All right? We just saw one with the R on there. And the A gets added in when you have to add in other things. In Etruscan, that would look like this. All right? The other way is kwa. All right? And there's variants. Kwa. And then just wa. And these would look like this in Etruscan. All right? And to determine which ending you use, it all depends on whether the object is animate or inanimate. And that merely means, is it alive or is it dead? All right? So, for example, all of the animate ones would take the R one. That's words like son, like God, like child, parent, right? Any words that refer to a living thing. The inanimate objects take one of these, and these are dialectal variations. So,
Jack Ortworth, if you're in the building, please come to the dean's office immediately. Jack Ortworth, if you're in the building, please come to the dean's office immediately. Thank you.
All right. So, for example, and I showed you Icer earlier. If we wanted to use the the Etruscan word for son, singular is clan. To pluralize it, klenar. All right. Child, hush, and that pluralizes to husher. Or parent, which is atres. And that pluralizes. Let me make sure I'm spelling it. Atreser. Alright? So this R ending is the plural form of animate objects. Alright? And we have to add in these connecting vowels as well to kind of allow us to easily say the word. Alright? So here we have son. This one was child. This one was parent. And you can see this is language that's common in funeral inscriptions. Arndt, the son of Lart, or Ramta, the child of Tanaquil and Lugamo, Arn, Laris, the parent of so-and-so. That's why we have a lot of these familiar names, okay? For the pluralization of the inanimate objects, it depends on the final sound of the stem, okay? So, let's erase these. Let's show some examples here. So, if it ends with a dental sound, like kilt. This is the singular for citadel, all right, or fortress. We would add the kilwa. So it changes to kiltkwa. All right. If it and that also goes if it ends in like a E or an I sound, or one of the consonants S's, it goes with the wa. So for example, hupni, all right, which is burial niches, right, or burial niche, would be hupni wa, burial niches, all right. Let's see, mersh. Is mersh, this final S changes to a Z sound.
Students, would you remember, if your parents are waiting for you in the south lot that's outside of Tradition Hall, you are not supposed to be picked up or dropped off out there. There's some cars waiting out there right now. If you're going to meet your parents, please tell them that is not the place they are supposed to be dropping off and picking up in the west lot. Thank you.
So, mersh, it has this final S sound, and that's an ossuary or a object to hold the bones. To pluralize it, merjwa. All right, and that actually is we seem to have it as a U, and that's the ossuaries. All right, the remaining ones of the inanimate objects get the kilwa. So, flare, which means a sacrifice. goes to Flerkua. Alright, and you'll notice, just to pause for a minute, I am writing these in English, like the English alphabet. If you want to see what the Etruscan alphabet, I'll try and include some of the transliterations of it, but you can also go back to the alphabet video and see what the alphabet would have looked like and be able to transliterate those. Alright, so for some more examples, if we have awil, which means year, this ends in an L, so it will have the koa ending, awikoa, which means years. I can write this one in Etruscan, so alright, so that's years. Or pulum, which means star. Alright, so pulum is the singular form for star. We added the koa again to that, so let me make sure, yep. Pulum koa. Alright. Or, for example, gate is cools. Alright, and so that has it has this S sound without the SH, and so that's just koa. So kolskoa is gates, and then let's see. That's I think all of my examples that I have for you. All right. So that is how you would pluralize these nouns. So the animate ones get the R. The inanimate ones get one of these koa, kuswa, kua, or wa sounds depending on the final letter. And so if it's this dental sound or this sibilant sound, it gets the koa. If it's an I, an E, or the sh sound, it gets the wa. And if it's anything else, it gets the kua. Alright? So feel free to ask questions at the bottom of this video. I will try to answer them as best as possible. If you're interested in learning more about the Etruscan language, I highly recommend the books Bonfante and Bonfante, which they are the authors of the Etruscan language, and then Rex Wallace, who wrote Zik Racina, which is a really great resource for the Etruscans, and one where I pull a lot of my examples from. But there's also a bunch of articles in Italian and in German, as well as English, about the Etruscan language. So get out there and do some of your own research, and hopefully you'll come back and watch another one of these videos. Thanks!